Hi children, in this video we are going to discuss about water soluble vitamins, its sources and deficiency diseases and the symptoms of that diseases children. We have already studied in the previous video about this fat soluble vitamins children. That link is given in the description box. So we have already studied that vitamins are classified into two types based upon their solubility. So first one is fat soluble vitamins. They are A, D, E, K children that we have already discussed, and the second type of vitamin is water soluble vitamins. So what are water soluble vitamins? So B complex and vitamin C are water soluble vitamins. So why we are calling this as a B complex? So this B vitamin children, it is a set of group of vitamins. So all those vitamins together collectively we call it as B complex. Okay, we are going to study about all those B complex vitamins as well as vitamin C children. These two are water soluble vitamins because they are soluble in the water. Let us look into the first vitamin children, that is B1, vitamin B1. So we call it as thiamine. Technically we call it as thiamine children. The sources of this thiamine are unpolished cereals. This is very important children. Unpolished cereals, okay, and vegetables, milk, meat, eggs, fish, etc. and etc. children. So unpolished cereals are the good sources of thiamine vitamin. Okay, so the deficiency of this thiamine leads to beriberi disease children. Beriberi disease. If you look into the symptoms of this beriberi disease children, so vomitings, fits, loss of appetite, lethargic means what children? Unenergetic, dull, lazy, okay, and a breathing problem. So these are the symptoms for beriberi disease children, okay, and this beriberi disease is due to lack of vitamin B1, that is thiamine. Next, come to the next vitamin, that is B2. We call it as riboflavin. B2 vitamin, technically we call it as riboflavin. The sources of this vitamin riboflavin, so milk, eggs, liver, kidney, green leafy vegetables children. Got it? And the deficiency of this B2, that is riboflavin, leads to glossitis. It is a deficiency disease caused due to the lack of riboflavin, that is B2 vitamin children. So what are the symptoms of this glossitis? Mouth cracks at the corners. Got it? And red and sore tongue. Photophobia means what children? These the people who are suffering from this lack of this vitamin, that is riboflavin children, they will be unable to see the bright light. So that condition we call it as photophobia. Phobia means what? Fear. Photo means what? Light. So they cannot open their eyes wide and they cannot see the bright light. So that is condition we call it as photophobia. This photophobia is due to the lack of vitamin B2, that is riboflavin children. Got it? And dry skin children, it maintains the epithelium also. So it due to the lack of this vitamin, so dry skin also causes. So this is about the B2 children, that is riboflavin. Next, come to the B3 vitamin, that is niacin. Niacin, if you look into the sources of this niacin children, kidneys, liver, meat, eggs, fish, oil seeds. So in the oil seeds they are very rich. Niacin vitamin is very rich in the oil seeds, fish, eggs, meat and kidney, as well as what children? Liver. So due to the deficiency of this niacin, that is B3 vitamin children, it leads to pellagra. This is very important. Usually this question will come in the competitive exams and even in the all the boards also. Okay, the deficiency of this niacin leads to pellagra. Got it? So this pellagra disease, we call it as D3 disease also, children. I am writing here D3 disease. What is this D3? 3 Ds. What is that 3D? 1D is dermatitis. And the second D is dementia. What is this dementia? Dementia means loss of memory. Okay, I'll write it here. Loss of memory. So this condition, we call it as dementia, and diarrhea is also one of the symptoms. So all these 3 symptoms together we call it as D3 disease, that is the symptom of pellagra disease. Pellagra disease is due to the lack of vitamin. What is that, children? Niacin. It is the niacin deficiency. Next, come to the fourth type of vitamin in B complex, that is B6, children. So this B6, technical what name of this B6 vitamin is pyridoxine. So oil seeds, vegetables, milk, meat. So these are the good sources of this pyridoxine what vitamin, children. Actually this pyridoxine vitamin, that is B6 vitamin, it helps in synthesis of RBC, children. So due to the lack of this vitamin, what happens is there will be what, children? Anemic condition. That means what? RBC production will become less. That condition we call it as anemia. Due to the lack of this vitamin B6, that is pyridoxine, that leads to anemia, children. What are the symptoms of this one, anemia? So hyperirritability, nausea, and fits. Fits mean what, children? Convulsions. Got it? So these are the symptoms of this symptoms for the deficiency of pyridoxine vitamin, that is commonly we call it as B6 vitamin. And next come to another vitamin, that is vitamin B12. We call this as a cyanocobalamin. The technical name of this vitamin B12 is cyanocobalamin, children. And this cyanocobalamin is synthesized by the bacteria in the intestine. Inside the intestine, children. So there are certain kind of bacteria. That bacteria helps in synthesizing this vitamin B12. We call that vitamin technically as cyanocobalamin, children. And due to the lack of this vitamin, so how can we what deficient with this vitamin if the bacteria are synthesizing in our body? So due to certain conditions, children, that means when you take an antibiotics, due to the intake of antibiotics or due to intake of what, children, certain processed foods, this bacteria may die inside the intestine. That leads to what? Deficiency of the vitamin cyanocobalamin, that is B12. Got it? So due to the lack of this vitamin, so pernicious anemia is a disease seen due to the lack of cyanocobalamin, children. If you see the symptoms of this pernicious anemia, the person who is suffering from this disease, pernicious anemia, they'll be very weak, there will be a loss of appetite. Certainly, if there is a loss of appetite, the child or a person will not willing to eat, children. As a result, they become a lean as well as weak. Then what is mean by this pernicious anemia? Pernicious mean, the meaning of this pernicious is dangerous. Got it? Next come to another vitamin, that is folic acid. So this folic acid, the rich sources of this folic acid is liver, meat, eggs, milk, fruits, and leafy vegetables, children. Got it? The lack of this vitamin, folic acid, leads to anemia. So this folic acid also helps in production of RBC, children. Okay. So due to the lack of this folic acid, what happens? Certainly there will be a production of RBC will be less. That condition we are calling it as anemia. So due to this folic acid deficiency, so it leads to anemia, and the symptoms of this one is diarrhea and loss of what, children? RBC as well as WBC also. Next come to another vitamin, that is pantothenic acid. So this pantothenic acid is very rich in groundnuts and vegetables, sweet potatoes especially, and the person who is deficient with this pantothenic acid will suffer from the burning feet, children. Burning feet, and if a person is suffering from the burning feet, certainly what will be the symptoms, children? That person will be unable to walk properly. So walking problems and sprain also can be seen because of the deficiency of pantothenic acid. Next, come to another vitamin, children, that is biotin. So pulses, nuts, vegetables, liver, etc. are the good sources of this vitamin biotin, children. And the lack of this vitamin biotin leads to nervous disorder, and the symptoms of this vitamin deficiency is fatigue, mental depression and muscle pains, children. Okay, so what are the symptoms of this one, children? So fatigue and mental depression and muscle pains, children. Got it? So these are the symptoms for the deficiency of vitamin biotin, children. And these all set of vitamins such as B1, B2, B3, B6, B12, folic acid, pantothenic acid and biotin, so all together we are calling it as a B complex, children. Let me write it here. So all these are called as B complex. So these all vitamins, set of these vitamins, we call it as B complex, children, and they are very much helpful for the metabolic processes. And let us see another water soluble vitamin, that is vitamin C. Technically we call it as ascorbic acid. This ascorbic acid, so this ascorbic acid is very rich, that is vitamin C is very rich in citrus fruits, children. Citrus fruits as well as sprouts also. Okay, especially in amla, in lemon. So they are very useful. They are very rich in vitamin C, children, and even in the green leafy vegetables, green leafy vegetables. So we see this what vitamin. Okay, so the deficiency of this vitamin C leads to scurvy disease, children. Okay, so the symptoms of this scurvy disease is delay in healing the wounds, and fracture in bones. Fracture in bones mean what, children? So here the bones become weak because of the lack of this vitamin C. As a result of weak bones, so usually when they fall down, children, so usually they get a fractures in bones. That is due to the what, children? With lack of vitamin C. And this vitamin C, so we get immunity also, children. Now this is a pandemic situation, children, so where we are all, most of the people are very much fear about this coronavirus, children, and doctors are suggesting that to take more and more intake of vitamin C because it gives us immunity. Got it? So this vitamin C, it is an ascorbic acid. We call it as, technically called as ascorbic acid, children. The deficiency of this vitamin C, it is scurvy disease, children, and the lack of this vitamin C, it delays the healing in the wounds and also fracture in bones. So this is about vitamin C, vitamin C as well as what, children? Water soluble vitamins, that is B complex as well as vitamin C, children. Okay, so what are that B complex vitamins, children? So B1, that is thiamine, B2 riboflavin, B3 niacin, and B6 pyridoxine, B12 cyanocobalamin, folic acid, pantothenic acid, biotin. All together we are calling it as a B complex. And the next one is vitamin C. Technically we call it as ascorbic acid, children. So this is all about the water soluble vitamins, its sources, its deficiency disease and also symptoms. So that's all for today, children, and I hope you have enjoyed this class very much, children. So if you really enjoyed my class, please do subscribe and share it to your friends. That's all for today, children. Thank you very much.